Hey everybody, this is Jack Hammer of the Santa Rosa Press Democrat. I'm sorry, my McDonald's Wi-Fi is not working very well today. I think they must have changed the code or something over there. It's giving me a little bit of trouble. Uh, anyway, so I'm here today, as you can see, with So Real Sunil from So Real Sports. Hope everybody's doing well. Want to jump on, do a quick show tonight. Sunil's got some fun stuff planned later on this evening, so we're going to have a quick 30-minute show tonight. How you doing, Sunil?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I just got home from work. Haven't even put any food in my body. That's how excited I am to come on here with you, Jack. So I'm skipping meals to be on your show, brother.
See, that's how I like my guests. I like my guests to be hungry, bring that fire, have that hunger in their belly for the show. It makes it all that much better.
That's awesome.
We got Anthony. How you doing, Anthony? Don't have any word right now for you on the vacant coaching spots, but we'll keep our eyes out and definitely get that to you as soon as we hear something. And then also E. Kim, how you doing? Says hi, guys. We got Spy Nick Danger over here saying go Jack. Hit that like button, which I like. And then Michael Miller. How you doing, Michael? Good to see you. He says, this one was one I wanted to hit on. It says always hit on the like on all of Jack. So thank you so much, guys. Do that. And, we want to come on. There's a few topics we're going to hit tonight. We're going to start with really the topic of the day. And it looks like one of our commenters over on the side is already on brand with what we're going to be talking about today. Our topic for today's show was Jimmy Garoppolo to Philadelphia. I don't know if you saw this already, Sunil, but according to Albert Breer, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be making a run, taking some big swings at quarterbacks, and Jimmy Garoppolo seems to be one of the quarterbacks that's in their crosshairs. Do you foresee Garoppolo possibly ending up as an Eagle?
Yeah, so I think any team that is in this category of taking a big swing on a quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be thrown in there. But I don't necessarily think that that's that big swing that they're talking about, right? The big swing would be Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and then the base hit would be Jimmy Garoppolo, right? So he's just a swing. I don't know about the big swing. Now, do I see him going to the Eagles? Well, Eagles obviously have a lot of draft capital, right? They have 3 first-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
So they can be aggressive. But does that necessarily mean that Jimmy Garoppolo they value as one of those first-round picks? I don't know. I can't tell you, though. I actually am a little bit tapped in with the Eagles. Some of my best friends are diehard Eagles fans. I've lived in Philadelphia before. So I do have a little bit of a sense of what the fans there think about their own team, and then also what they think about some of the 49ers players, me being a super big 49er fan. Jimmy Garoppolo is somebody that they do feel like is a good quarterback. So is it out of the realm of possibility that they do value Jimmy? No, not at all. I think they do look at Jimmy Garoppolo and see him as somebody who's had a lot of success with the 49ers. Obviously, in the last 3 years, have taken the 49ers to an NFC championship game in 2 of those, taking them to a Super Bowl in 1 of those years. And, you just look at the win-loss record, and anybody would look at Jimmy Garoppolo and say, hey, he makes the team better. So can I see the Eagles getting into it? Yes. Do I think that the Eagles could easily say that they're interested in Jimmy Garoppolo because they also know their division rival Washington is looking for a quarterback as well and is looking for them to up the ante because they know that the Eagles could have 3 first-round picks. So maybe does that make Washington be a little more aggressive, hoping that they take Jimmy Garoppolo from the Eagles? I could see that being part of the case as well. Jack, we know off-season time is all about who are you getting the information from and what is the agenda for leaking the type of information. So is this straight about the Eagles wanting Jimmy Garoppolo? Could be. Is this more about, hey, let us throw our name in the hat so it drives up the price for our rivals? That could possibly be it as well. So I tend to think that the Eagles are more after a guy like Russell Wilson than Jimmy Garoppolo, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean the Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers things, or whoever it is, right? That's going to have to play into a factor here with anything that happens with Garoppolo. Those are the big names out there. So I think teams are going to probably try to swing for them first before they get to Garoppolo. But it'll be fun to watch how this thing plays out because everybody seems to be all of a sudden a big Jimmy Garoppolo fan when it comes to teams across the NFL.
Right.
Bigger than the 49ers fan base, that's for sure. Um, and like you made a really good point there that they do have the draft capital because of the trade from Cart that they with Carson Wentz last year. They picked up some extra picks and it'll be. I would love to see him in Philadelphia. I think it would make a lot of sense for the Eagles. The Eagles probably also remember their fans probably remember him being kind of a tough guy back in week 2 and be able to withstand that and take him down and win that game too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I see where you're coming from though. You're making a really good point though that they're maybe just trying to drive the market up for Washington, make them spend a little bit more than would otherwise.
Here's
I
the
think
thing, Jack.
Philadelphia would be a good spot.
Here's the thing for me. When you're giving up a first round pick, because I see some people in the comment section talking about first round pick for Jimmy. If you're giving up a first round pick, not only are you showing that you value this quarterback, but you're also stating that this is going to be our quarterback for the future. So for me, do I think that the Eagles have, or even the Commanders are looking at Jimmy Garoppolo and saying, this is going to be our quarterback for the next 3 to 5 years? Because to me, if you're going to give up a first round pick, you're saying this is going to be our quarterback for the next 3 to 5 years. I really, really, really find it hard to believe that these teams are valuing Jimmy in that way, that they believe he's already ready to be a 3 to 5 year starter, and not because necessarily, his play, which I think there's question. But I mean, people could value play, any other way, but just injury wise, right? I don't think that you can sit there and think that Jimmy Garoppolo over the next 3 to 5 years is going to play all of those games. It's just he was nicked up a little bit this year, missed the game. He's every other year he misses the whole season. So it's kind of like where I don't understand where this first round valuation is coming. I love it. Hey, great. Let's say it's worth 2 first rounds, but I just don't believe it. I don't know if you feel the same way, Jack.
No, I don't. I struggle to see a team giving up a first round draft pick for Jimmy Garoppolo, even though, I've been pretty positive on his play in 2021. Was pretty positive on his play in 2019. When he's been on the field, I've been pretty positive on it. But you're right. That's the point you made is something that teams need to take into account. And the likelihood of Jimmy Garoppolo playing the full season in 2022, 23, and 24, if you're trying to keep him for that length of time, is unlikely. Right? It's unlikely that he's going to play. What is that? 51 games in the regular season over the next 3 years. That's highly unlikely. It's highly unlikely, probably even that he plays 47. Figure he misses two a season over the next 3. It's highly unlikely that he's going to do that just based on his history. All of a sudden, for him to be, it'd be perfect 49 for a perfect thing for Garoppolo, right? To be hurt all the time when he was at the Niners and then go out somewhere else and be healthy all the time. So I don't think so. I don't think he's going to get a first round. I don't think they're going to get a first round pick. I think they're probably going to get a second. And it's just a matter of how high up in the second round are you going to get.
There's a comment.
I just feel like.
I'm sorry, Jack. There's a comment. I just didn't want to miss it. Michael Miller said Indy gave up a first and a third for a 1-year rent on Carson. Now, Michael, that turned out to be true, but that isn't what they gave up initially. They gave a third round and a conditional second based off of playing time, based off of him playing for a certain amount of games. I've been on the record saying that the same deal that Carson got is the same deal that the 49ers should use as their floor. Third round pick and a conditional second that Kern turned into a first based off of him playing a certain amount of games with the team that trades for him. Because Carson had the same type of injury issues that Jimmy has, as far as missing multiple games, missing majority of the season due to injuries. So if that is a deal I think is more realistic, where it could be a third and a second that can turn into a first, I could see that happen. But just a straight out first or a first and another pick, to me, that's too rich for my blood, at least.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't. You and I think we both have said this. I know I said it last week. I think I said it when we were talking on last Tuesday that I think uh, the Indy deal with Philly, I think, is the starting point for the 49ers in negotiations. You can't take any if you're looking for anything less than that, you're underselling yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because Garoppolo is every bit as good as Carson Wentz. I think he's better than him if he's healthy. I think he'd be a better quarterback for the if he was with Indianapolis, which is one of the targets I think for him. I feel like they would be better off with Jimmy Garoppolo than Carson Wentz, and it would just be interesting to see Philadelphia pull the parachute on Jalen Hurts after 1 year, and that's why I'm not so sure if I totally believe this one. The Washington thing makes more sense. They've done this in the past, and it would make sense for them to bring him in and have him for a 2 to 3 year period, and maybe and they have a guy on the bench who I think is a pretty solid backup. Maybe they decided to draft one as well at some point. So
Well, if you
I
look
don't
at, I
think he's
could
going to end up.
understand, I could understand teams like Washington, Jack, for the case that makes more sense because they don't have a young guy on the roster that they're developing right now. So
Mhm.
more than likely, this year's draft is supposedly pretty weak for quarterbacks. That's the
Yes.
consensus that I heard in every single report. So the
Mhm.
likelihood of Washington making a pick this year for a quarterback is probably unlikely. So let's say that that would leave minimum next year. So that's 2 years, right? So a full year of a quarterback and then a second year you bring in, say you do what 49ers did and have your rookie sit for a whole year. So that means that the Washington is looking for a quarterback, just like you said, that's going to be playing for 3 years, and then in that next year, the fourth year, can be traded, cut, whatever the case may be, so that their rookie can end up being playing in their second year in the system, right? So I
Mhm.
could see teams like that don't have a rookie on the roster that's ready to go. I doubt that Jalen Hurts they're just going to give up on after giving a second for him, and he's only been a starter for a full season 1 year. And I mean, I just don't see how Jimmy makes that team much better, right? Jimmy needs a team that could hold offenses to under 20 points a game or close to 20 points, right? The defense bailed Jimmy out so many times as far as keeping it close. Philadelphia's defense, you can score on them. So that means that Jimmy has to be consistent on offense. And the types of receivers that they have are more deep ball receivers than it is the short, quick slant game. So it's just, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it would be ideal for the Eagles if they think that just Jimmy's going to come in and they're already going to have a better offense than Dallas or a better team than Dallas, which is, the team that's, in first place over there. I just don't see that they would give up, the type of assets. I could see it more as a ploy to get Washington to give up more. And if so, great. Hey, more competition means more for the 49ers.
There you go. Yeah, it does. And that's really what the 49ers really need to have Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers stay put. That's really what they need, right? That's if those guys stay where they are, Jimmy Garoppolo may end up getting them a first round pick because of the lack of talent on the market. So we'll see how that works out for them.
There's another comment from Tony. He says Arizona gave up on Rosen after spending a first. I think teams do this now. Look, that was a completely different situation, Tony. A new regime came in, a new coach. So they weren't giving up their first. They were giving up another regime's first, right? But they saw Kyler Murray. That's the quarterback that this coach wanted. So that's a completely different situation in the sense that it was a they had the new coach saw Kyler Murray as the ideal quarterback for the system that he was running. Now, Cipriani didn't draft Jalen Hurts, I don't believe. Yeah, he came in the year after they drafted Jalen
Mhm.
Hurts. But I don't think Cipriani looks at Jimmy and says, this is the ideal quarterback for my system. Maybe he does. I don't know. But I just don't think that they look at Jimmy as he's going to be the starter for the team the next 3 years. So that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting what you say about Arizona. Let's stay on this one for a second because they did have a regime change in terms of the coaching staff, but the general manager was the same, was still the same. They still had Steve Keim was the general manager that drafted Josh Rosen, and then the next year, when they had the changeover at quarterback, they got off of Rosen and went to Kyler Murray when they brought in uh, whoever's there now. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head, but their current coach, Kingsbury, right? Because of the relationship there. So they decided to go do the 49ers a favor and go with quarterback there at one, and the 49ers get Nick Bosa. So that's a good point though by Tony. I mean, that could be something. Maybe they gave it a year and Sirianni, tried to make it work with them and he doesn't feel like it's going to work out there. I do think that there's things within their offense that Garoppolo can do well. We'll see. I mean, they ran a lot of screens last year in Philadelphia. I know they threw the ball down the field as well, but it was either screens or bust really with them. They'd screen it and then they'd throw it down the field. So it'll be interesting to see. I feel like Garoppolo could fit there. It's just again, it's the do you move off of Jalen Hurts so quickly? And like Tony says, teams are starting to do it more and more often now. So we'll see. Jumping over real quick to another topic. This came up after the Super Bowl. A number of 49er fans were not happy with the Rams winning the Super Bowl. They felt like the Rams bought the Super Bowl, right? They went out and they got themselves a quarterback and they brought in a bunch of defensive players. They went out and got a receiver in the middle of the season. They did a bunch of moves to get themselves in position to get a ring. And, they're calling them ring chasers and all those kinds of things. If the 49ers were to make a move like that, would it make a Super Bowl any less important to you or worth any less?
Look, to quote the great Herm Edwards, you play to win the game. All right. I am living in Los Angeles right now. My favorite basketball team is the Los Angeles Lakers. They go out and they get the best talent to win championships because at the end of the day, it's all about raising that banner. To devalue a championship based off of the caliber of players on that team, to me, is just ridiculous because what Super Bowl team had a really bad roster, Jack? Like, tell me the team that didn't have superstars all over it. Now, if you understand that, or if you developed those players and drafted them and all that kind of stuff, great. Kudos to you. But at the end of the day, a winning organization is all about knowing their strengths and knowing their weaknesses. The Rams identified that maybe development game wasn't the best for them. Let us go all in and get developed talent, put them together. We have a young coach that knows how to get the best out of veteran players, and let's just punt on the draft. And they did it, and it worked out. So I don't know. To me, it's just crying over spilled milk. Like, it's just people that can't swallow the fact that the Rams actually won a championship. And to me, if the 49ers did the same thing, which I'm sure you're going to bring up right now, if they brought in, it's not like the people weren't saying, bring in this superstar, bring in that superstar, bring in Tom Brady. Oh, what was Tom Brady, like a homegrown developed talent? Like, no, everybody wants the superstar to bring in and go out there and the purpose is to win a championship. Nobody would be like, oh, the championship is devalued in San Francisco because we got Tom Brady as our quarterback, or insert any quarterback that the 49ers have been alluded to try to get. I don't know why people, it sounds comical that anybody would even make that comment, Jack.
Yeah, I got a kick out of it myself, especially on Sunday night looking at it. And, I don't know. I think it depends on your age, right? If you're 30-year-old, if you're 30 or less, you don't remember how the 49ers won their last Super Bowl, because you weren't around. Or if you were around, I mean, if you're 30, you're 3, so you really had no idea what was going on, right? You were around, but you don't really remember what they did to get that Super Bowl in 1994. I mean, they overhauled that roster quite a bit. I think that there was a big number of free agents. I don't remember what the number was, but you had, Ken Norton Jr., you had the linebacker, Gary Plummer. You had Bart Oates at center. You had it was a number of guys, and then once the season started, they saw themselves struggling a little bit, and they went out and they got Dion, and Dion took them over the top. And like Tony said, there, Richard Dent was one of them. Charles Mann was another one. They just went out and spent like crazy because they knew that they had to get past Dallas, and they weren't going to get there the way they were. Ricky Jackson was a guy who I remember with Ricky Jackson, there was a deal in his thing where if he got a certain number of sacks, it was going to be like $1 million. And he got that sack like at the end of the season. And I remember John Madden making a big deal about how Sanders just made himself a bunch of money with that one play. The 49ers were one of the reasons why you even have the salary cap to begin with, right?
Yeah.
The way that they used to spend back in the 80s, even before the salary cap hit in 94. So it's a big, the 49ers were the Rams before the Rams. And I don't have any problem with it. I think if you want to win the Super Bowl, you do what you feel like you need to do. Will the Rams be around long term? I don't know, but I've been hearing for 5 years that the Rams are going to wear out at some point, and they continue to put together winning seasons and get to the playoffs year after year. And the moves they made this year put them to the top. And the biggest move they made was the quarterback position, and we'll see if that plays out for the 49ers this year.
Yeah, I mean, the before when the 49ers were dominating the Rams, it was all like, oh, they're not going to last, like you said, or eventually they spend too much. It's too much of a top heavy team, and all these reasons why the Rams never win the Super Bowl, right? Now that they won the Super Bowl, it's like, oh, they bought their ring. Like, it's like all the things that people were saying they're stupid for. Now all of a sudden is the reason why. It's like, it's just, haters are gonna hate, Jack. That's what it is. And at the beginning of fan is short for fanatic, and these are thoughts from fanatics, right? It's not facts over feelings. It's feelings over facts. So I it's entertainment, and hey, we got a segment out of it. So good for them.
It's gonna be a great conversation for us when we sit down and start our throwback series, because I think this is really something to look at. And then, like Tony says over here, heck, the 49ers when Dwight Clark and Carmen Paulson were running the show, they subverted the cap and cost the team draft pick. So, I mean, it wasn't even just signing. They were doing all kinds of crazy things back in the day to keep themselves relevant and keep themselves in contention for Super Bowl. So, for 49er fans to get upset about teams making moves, all they need to do is look at what their own team has done in their history to win those. And I mean, the 49ers have a different way of going about it nowadays. But regardless, I don't have any issue with what the Rams did. They did what they had to do. Are they going to be around long term? We'll see. I don't have a problem with it. There was a comment over here that I wanted to hit because I know we are running out of time for tonight, but. I'm looking at it really quick, and it was from 27 Ephesians. Where is it? Here it is. Let's end on this one. Let's take the banner off of here. We don't need to use that question. But the question is, Jack, just because we 49er fans are yelling Kittle the best tight end, especially when he doesn't play like it, other channels say that they're capping. So let me ask you this question: do you think that George Kittle is the best tight end in the NFL?
Yeah, I think he is because of I think he's all right. Let me rephrase that. He is the best tight end in the league for what the 49ers system needs a tight end to do. And what that means is he has to have the ability to catch the ball at a very high clip, like one of the best tight end receivers, and he has to be able to block like one of the best tight end blockers. And he is both of those things. So if you're just talking like a pure pass receiving tight end, maybe Kelsey is better than him. Maybe even Waller could be better than him. But when you talk about just the best tight end in the game that could block the way that the 49ers need their tight end to block in the zone scheme, and that could catch the ball the way that the 49ers need him to catch, he is perfect for what Shanahan needs out of his tight end. So I do believe. Now, to the second part of that question, he doesn't play like it. I would have to be like, what does that mean that he doesn't play like it? Like, are his numbers not like Kelsey's numbers? Are they not like Mark Andrews' numbers? Are they not like Waller numbers? Possibly, yeah. But I don't know if that's because Kittle isn't playing like it, I could guarantee you that the type of targets that Kelsey gets is nowhere near the type of consistent targets that Kittle gets. So to expect the same type of production from less opportunity is just naive. And also playing with the Patrick Mahomes versus playing with the Jimmy Garoppolo, the ball is coming to you a little bit differently when you're playing with Patrick Mahomes. So I think that he's the best tight end for what the 49ers need. And I would put him in the top three clearly out of tight ends in the league.
Yeah, that's a tough one. So much of what people look at when they say best of whatever, it's all based off of stats. And George Kittle doesn't have the stats to back it up. The one year that he put up monster stats was when Jimmy Garoppolo was injured, and they put up huge numbers with a quarterback who, didn't really know what he was. I mean, he knew what he was doing, but who looked for him, right? Who made it a point to throw the ball to George Kittle and Nick Mullins. And I feel like we might see George Kittle put up some big numbers in 2022 because he's going to have a quarterback that it's going to be more willing to push the ball down the field to him. It's not always going to be an underneath throw. It's going to be balls down the field and those types of things. So he might put up number one type numbers this year. He's definitely top 3 in the league. He's definitely up there. And I don't think being a fan is blinding that. I think that you put George Kittle on the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes. You put him on the Raiders with Darren Waller. And all of a sudden his numbers are going to jump up because the quarterbacks are going to be looking at him more often and getting him the ball.
And scheme-wise, they're going to be a more pass-heavy team. People forget that Kyle Shanahan run offenses are bottom 5 when it comes to pass attempts per game. And this is dating back to even with Atlanta, with when he had Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley and Matty Ice over there. So it's just his offenses aren't run around passing the ball a whole bunch of times. It's usually between 25 to 30 pass attempts per game, and they're diverted between wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs. So he's just not getting the type of opportunities that these other teams are getting. So he's asked to do more. I mean, you unfortunately don't get attributed to how many yards a running back gets behind your blocks. But if you added that to the type of production that George Kittle brings to the team, he's going to be way over what these other tight ends are doing because they're not sitting there and making the type of blocks on the edge that Kittle is doing to spring these running backs free.
Yeah, and I agree. And like Raymond here says, the Kittle disrespect is crazy, as if he's not the second best O-lineman on the 49ers as well. He pulls double duty as a tight end and O-lineman, and that's correct. David Lombardi put out a stat today on Twitter. It was something like 16% of the time or in that ballpark he's staying in the block. And that's part of the reason why his numbers aren't the same as a Kelsey or a Waller. He's asked to do different things. And once, if their offensive line can perform a little better where he doesn't have to, that and then mixed in with a quarterback who's going to put the ball on him, George Kittle's numbers can take a jump. And between his blocking on in the run game, sometimes having to stay in to pass protect, and what he does when he does have the ball in his hands, I don't think in that case, when he has the ball in his hands, I don't think there's a tight end in the league that's better after the catch than he is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's his strong suit. So that's the show for tonight. We come on quick. I know, Sunil, you're jumping over to another show coming up here, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be on with Jesse. So I know a lot of these guys go to Jesse's channel right after this. So don't be surprised if it's me again, because it will be. We're doing that in about at 6:30. So about 45 minutes.
Okay, 6:30. All right, perfect. Yeah, so we just wanted to come on, give you a couple of the top things that are going on around the 49ers. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Get over to Sunil's channel as well. He's got a great bunch of great content over there at So Real Sports. Get over there, follow his content while you're here. Hit that like button if you can, and hit the subscription if you're not already subscribed. Make sure you hit the bell notification so you don't miss when we go live. Thank you very much, Tony. I appreciate it. He says $5 donation. I appreciate that. He says mahalo, gents. Thank you. And just everybody else, have a great Tuesday. I will be back on Thursday night for the Hammer and Nail show at 5:30 with Jesse Naylor. So Keep it locked in here. And if there's any new news that breaks with the 49ers tomorrow, that'll be on here. I'll be jumping on to do that as well. Thanks, everybody. Have a great Tuesday night and talk to you soon.